Okay, we're going to go ahead and start. I'm sorry, I had soda. Oof. Okay, our group's basically talking about security and privacy in the workplace. Our topic was technology and ethics. And I'm Gina, Susan, Corey, Jyothi, and Rhonda. So you guys, there'll be a test later. This is going to be very quick. Okay, Big Brother is watching you. Wanted to get your attention. You are being watched. Right now you're being watched. Actually, you're on camera. But what we're going to talk about is this quote I thought a little bit interesting. It says, in most states, employers are entitled to, and increasingly do, read their workers' email, conduct random drug tests, surreptitiously tape employees, monitor web surfing, and even look into their workers' medical and genetic data. If that doesn't bother you, I don't know what would. But I'm just kind of going to go over a couple quotes. The introduction to this is just security in the workplace. It's not very in-depth. Organizations tend to keep a closer watch on their employees. Okay, I don't know if you guys have noticed that lately. Maybe you're going to work. Your boss has access maybe to your email. This is something we've talked about in here before. But this one I thought was really interesting. It says, a federal appeals panel in San Francisco ruled that although Consolidated Freightways installed hidden cameras in women's and men's bathrooms, one camera pointing towards a urinal, workers cannot sue under the state's invasion of privacy law. Eek, okay? They were being filmed in the bathroom, okay? And they couldn't sue. So these are some of the issues that are going on. And then the last thing I'm going to say to just kind of get your interest is this. It says technology, obviously is going to continue to evolve over time. We've talked about this is where we have now, where, everything basically that your files at work, people have access to it. So where 10 years from now will things be? What are your rights as a worker in a company? And where do workers... Oh, wait, are you guys... Okay. Workers' privacy, and where does that all fall into place? Individual rights, constitutional rights. So I'll pass it along to Susan.
Okay, and to follow up with the rights, I worked on the basic principles, which basically was the laws. Privacy in the workplace is vast becoming something of the past. To quote the Constitution's Fourth Amendment, search and seizure, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Unfortunately, the internet was not in place when this was written, and in most courts, the company generally is allowed to monitor the activities of their employees. Individual companies, though, have been putting policies in place when employees are hired, such as contracts stating that they will be monitoring the employees' internet use or use of any equipment of the company. This ensures that there are no surprises in the case that Big Brother surveillance information is used. Attempts have been made in order to place laws in place to protect business and the employee, but unfortunately most recent litigation has been foolproof in the eyes of the courts. Therefore, privacy laws have failed the employee. The topic of Big Brother has become commonplace in everyday life. It has been suggested that government, large business and industry, and even healthcare systems have had the ability to record and analyze our everyday lives for the benefits of research and development for many years. Most legislators agree that laws must be put in place, although the infringement of human rights prohibits them from pushing the issue to a law level. Unfortunately, clear lines of privacy versus security in the eyes of the law may never be apparent. I'll pass it to Corey.
I'm going to talk about some of the issues on the various sides here. And the two main sides we have with this is from the employer and the employee, actually. The second one should be employee up there. The employer, their main concern is the loss of productivity. some of the reports show that a survey conducted back in 2000 that 62% of the people use online resources at least once a day for personal reasons, and then 20% of them use that 10 times a day. And I imagine those numbers have probably increased since 2000. But that's the main concern, is that employees are using these resources for personal use rather than business use. And then the other one is the legal liability. Companies are liable for any of the information that's being transmitted through their email. And some of the research has talked about a lot of the companies have actually been subpoenaed for some court cases dealing with emails sent through their company. And then confidential information, they were saying this can be intentional or accidental. Sometimes emails get sent to the wrong people that it's not intended to. And then also they were talking about the risk of disgruntled employees sometimes giving out trade secrets. And some of the research showed that most of the companies were more concerned with internal risk rather than external risk. And then lastly, from the employer side, is dealing with viruses and damaged equipment. Some of the viruses can cause a lot of damage to their equipment, and they are liable for that. Then the employees, most of them feel like this is an invasion of their privacy. And then another concern is the abuse of power. They think that sometimes not only the people who are doing this monitoring, but maybe upper management, if they have some prejudices or some type of political agenda, are going to find ways to go through and monitor people to find something against them to maybe have them dismissed or some type of punishment. And then the last one is accuracy, and that one dealt more with surveillance cameras than rather the actual monitoring of their online activities. But they were saying that the use of cameras are sometimes not always 100% accurate as far as identifying people. So those are some of the issues on the two main sides, and now I'll give this to Jyothi.
Okay, now as Corey said that the main thing is the productivity for any organization. So if the employers use the resources for their personal use, it obviously affects the productivity of the organization. So nowadays it became mandatory for them to put some rules or policies, and they need to monitor the employees what they are doing at the office timings. So the main things they use for monitoring the employees are the telephone monitoring. Their calls are being monitored. If they are making any personal calls, they are being monitored, and their computer monitoring and email monitoring. The main thing will be the emails which are sent by the employers to the outside personal use. I think some of the reasons why the organizations are implementing these policies are they decrease productivity due to internet surfing by the employees, discrimination claims arising from offensive email users, workplace accidents due to illegal drug use, and employee resentment over computer monitoring, and sexual harassment lawsuits spurred by dating among the co-workers. So the surveys, as it is been said by Corey, that the survey said there is very much loss for the productivity because of all these resource usage by the employees.
I got more into where we're going in the future with security. Right now we deal with a lot of passwords. Smart passwords is a big thing on campus now. We're having to all switch over to the smart passwords. But where we're going in the future is biotechnology, where we're talking about the finger scanning, iris scanning, hand and finger geometry, where it memorizes your structure of your hand. And a lot of people don't like this because they think it's kind of the big brother mentality that the government is going to be tracking you. And that's really one of the biggest hindrances right now with the biotechnology. Another thing is with passwords is graphical passwords.